Hi guys, welcome to our third review. We'll be reviewing the 2000 action thriller horror film Battle Royale. But first, we've got a disclaimer, Rob.
Basically, we're going to struggle saying some of the characters, directors,
We're going to
actors,
butcher their names.
Yeah,
we're going to butcher their
we
names.
apologise. We're going to butcher the Japanese language basically, and we apologise in advance.
If you see us looking down a lot, it's because we can't.
We've tried to remember these names as best as we can from watching the movie. And we've watched a few interviews and things like that, but we're still struggling because basically between us both, we're not very good.
So the film is directed by Kinji Fukasaku and it's written by his son. The screenplay was written by his son. It was a novel beforehand.
Yes, the screenplay was done by his son.
Kenta Fukusaku. Do you want to start off with what the premise of the film is, Rob? For people that don't know.
Well, for anyone who's not seen it, so this is a film from 21 years ago. Like Chad said, it's based on a novel. It's a controversial film when it came out. I mean, no film really at the time was out like this movie. It was a lot. The controversy is because basically it's children pitted up against each other to kill each other. Yeah. And obviously
there's 42 kids, isn't there?
I believe so. Yeah,
two exchange students and then the 40 class members.
I mean, one great thing about the movie actually that really helps you along, like the story, is that every single time someone dies in this movie, it tells you that someone's died, and basically there's like a countdown.
Because there can only be one. Basically like Highlander, but with kids.
With kids, and with great hair, to be fair.
Yeah, very good
great hair. And, but yeah, this movie came out in 2000, and it's basically, like I say, it's I don't think it was banned. It might be banned in certain countries, but in the UK it was not. I mean, it may have been censored, obviously, slightly. I think an uncut version has come out since.
Well,
I know a director's cut's come out since. And but it was definitely a shocker for its time. I mean, now if it came out, maybe not. I don't know. It probably,
no, I don't think so these days.
No, I mean, like it's hard to shock these days. I mean, since the days of the movies like Irreversible, a Serbian film,
Human Centipede.
Which
the second one's worse in my opinion.
I agree, especially the little colour scene when the stuff comes out.
Yeah.
If you know that movie, you'll know what I mean.
Subscribe if you know.
Yeah, and apologise if you have not seen it and you do watch it because it's quite sickening. But the actual, like I say, now Battle Royale probably wouldn't be as controversial as it was then. No. But like I say, it came out at the right time, and like Chad was saying about, we read we saw a couple of interviews with Tarantino, and he did say about, I think it was when he was making Death Proof. When Death Proof came out, he did press for it in the UK. He was talking about his favourite films since he became a director in 1992, which was obviously Reservoir Dogs, and he was talking about those movies, the movies that have really inspired him since he's become a director. And he said the one film he wished he made out of I think it was 20, the top 20 that the list he compiled, Battle Royale was number one, and he said it was the one film he wished he had made himself. Chad, what did you think first?
I really like the film. This is probably the 5th time I've seen it. Ballpark figure, might be more. But this is the first time I've watched it since being an adult, I'd say. If you can call me that. And you know what? I really enjoyed it, yeah. I just think the story's really good. I love the little things in it. Like, I love the teacher, whose name is Sensei Kitano, is it? Sensei Kitano. I like sort of like his backstory about his struggles with his family in the background. I thought that was really good. He's got a bit of a dark thing going on, hasn't he?
He's very sadistic in a way, because I mean the movie obviously sets out with so really in the first 10 minutes or so, you're sort of, all the children are on a day trip, aren't they? Like a weekend.
Well, it starts off with him getting stabbed in the leg, doesn't it?
So straight away you see that the kids no longer...
Because he was their teacher.
Yeah, because...
Class B, are they called? Class B?
Yeah, they brought in the Battle Royale Millennium Act, wasn't it?
Yes,
Because obviously the kids have now running riot. They run the place. And this is sort of trying to bring balance to what
he calls it a lottery, doesn't he? They get picked through a lottery.
Because obviously the children are sort of, like I say, they open it. Is it Nobu?
Nobu, who stabs him in the leg. Which is what Nanahara's best friend, isn't he?
That's
He's in the home with him.
That's right, yeah. Because Nanahara, at the beginning of the movie...
His mum leaves.
Yeah, and his father commits suicide. And
quick one on that, Rob, and for the viewers. Is it just me that thinks it's very weird that his dad chose to hang himself with his pants around his ankles?
He may have been... Well, yes, good point. I mean, I've not read into it too much. He may have been partaking in...
And it's fixie wank, we call it in the business, Rob.
That's what. Yeah. Very weird way to find
your father.
Yeah.
Because the thing to me is like he knew that his son was the only person living with him. So I feel like it was a weird choice to touch yourself knowing it, and kill yourself knowing your son was going to find it.
Yeah, unless it was accidental.
No, because he wrote the letter, didn't he, on the toilet paper?
Course, yeah.
Saying, like,
Go for it.
Basically, don't blame yourself kind of thing. So, yeah, I just always thought I was a weird... We're off track again.
So, obviously, the opening scene, like Chad said, it's Nobu stabs...
The teacher.
Kitano in the leg. And then from there, they basically... I think it's like a year later now after that happened. And they've got a new teacher. And they're on a bus, they're going on a day trip somewhere, maybe a weekend away. And they're all having a good time, everyone's happy, they're taking photos together, just sharing memories. And the teacher seems to be quite well liked, actually.
Well, as Kitano says to him, he was a pushover, wasn't he? He let him get away with everything.
That's right, yeah. And then the next minute, they go through a tunnel, and basically they all...
Nanahara wakes up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's the only one, really. And he wakes up and he looks at the front of the coach, and there is basically two people, the driver and it looks like
the stewardess.
Someone like... Yeah, it looks like a steward off a plane, she's dressed like that.
She hits him with a pipe.
Yeah, they're wearing masks, so obviously they're being gassed, and but not to death. And then the next minute they wake up basically all in this like room, and that's when they find out what is going on, because obviously everyone's confused. And this scene really, it's one of those greatest of all time. It could easily fit in the greatest scenes of all time in the last, the great 100 scenes of the last 100 years, because it sets up the movie perfectly.
When they're starting to realise what's happening.
Exactly, everyone, I mean, it also brings out, the brattiness of all the children, because they're all sort of, they're all screaming and shouting at each other. And any adults in front of them, they're sort of squaring up to them, not afraid. To be fair, it's not like, they're all just going bang, 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 kill each other sort of thing. They're all, some of them form groups, they all go off in their own little packs. And that's where it gets a bit Hunger Games, but obviously Hunger Games is taken from this, really.
Well, the person that wrote Hunger Games said they'd never seen Battle Royale when they were...
Susan Collins.
Yes, the lady, which I think is grade A bull, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate on Hunger Games. I think it's an okay films, but I must admit, I think I've only watched the first... I've watched the first two, Hunger Games, Catching Fire, but I never bothered with the other two, and I think it's because Catching Fire didn't really...
I never watched any of them.
It nearly sort of grabbed my attention enough, and Battle Royale was doing more than enough in one film to just justify it to be as good as anything like it. Because there's a lot of movies out there where, people are being hunted. That's what it is. It's like a hunting film, hunting each other. You got things like The Running Man.
The Hunt that came out, was it like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Hard Target with Van Damme. Films like that, all quite sort of similar. And but with children, it's a different ball game. Yeah. And that's where the movie really does, shock people, because they're all wearing their uniform, and that's what makes it, again, more shocking.
Before they leave as well, they're given a pack which has bread, water, and a random weapon in. Yes. And the weapon can either be really cool, so like an Uzi, a katana, some nunchucks.
Yeah. What was your favourite?
My favourite, the lid, the pop pan lid, just because how ridiculous it was.
I think the first person to leave actually had the best, like the bow and arrow.
The crossbow, the crossbow, yeah. Yeah, the lad with the glasses.
Yeah. He was obviously, he was doing damage the moment he left that room.
Yeah, true. I mean, you say that, but some of them, like the one guy had a shotgun, which is pretty. Yeah. And then obviously the what's his name, Keizo. He managed to get an Uzi. Actually, he had a fan, didn't he?
He volunteered to be in it, didn't he?
Yes, because he liked killing.
Yeah, because there was him, Keizo, and there was also Kawada.
Yeah, he was the lad with the headband that had been in it before.
So because those two characters were in the same room when all the children wake up. And they're all looking at him thinking, who are you?
The teacher calls them exchange students.
Right, okay, yeah. And as the movie prologue goes on, you find out more from both. Well, you only find out more from Kawada.
Yes.
Because he spends a lot of time. He sort of takes Nanahara and Nariko
under his wing
and sort of looks after them, and sort of, he is like the voice, like the logic in the group. And whilst Keizo is going around killing everybody, just causing chaos,
mercilessly as well, isn't he? Just murdering everyone.
For me, he's the best thing in the movie, because every scene he's in, the film is better.
Yes, like the bit where he cuts the guy's head off, puts a grenade in it,
that's right,
throws it through a window.
Got the samurai going on, and even his death scene is amazing. Like the walking over the hill with the
he's blind, he starts firing.
That's right, yeah. And you got the fire in the background on the building, and the music kicks in. It's a really, really well,
because he has a gunfight with Kawada, doesn't he? In the end, that's the thing.
I mean, that's sort of, in a way, you're waiting for those two to meet, because obviously they're the older students.
Yes,
they're going to have more experience in the game, and And as the film obviously progresses, it's not just kill, kill, kill. There's a lot of flashbacks to when the kids were all together, the friendships they formed. So as they kill one another, you feel for them more because obviously each character has, they've all formed these bonds with one another, and it's obviously becoming harder for some people in the movie, like the character
Mosquito, no, not Mosquito,
Mitsuko and Tako. No, that's
Tokiko.
Tatiko.
Yeah, we're just going to say that.
She is in Kill Bill. Yeah, she's the young girl in the child's uniform.
With the ball.
With the ball. Yeah, who fights Uma Thurman, and she gets the in the head.
The leg with the nails.
That's it. Yeah, and those two, they seem to be killing for fun.
Evil.
Yeah, they seem to take the killing quite. Like Dr. Water.
Especially Mitsuko, especially the bit when she kills the girl by getting her with the scythe on her neck.
That's a great fight scene, that was.
Very good, yeah. Because she's got, is it the taser she's got?
The taser, yeah. I mean, that taser sort of changes hands throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But that scene, like I say, it's a good sort of like standoff between the two characters.
Very good. She has a few, though, her, to be fair, doesn't she?
Yeah. I mean, she chases Tatiko.
Yeah. Well, she
after she stabs someone in the bollocks.
Yes, yeah. She also fights, however you said, Kazuko.
Yes, she does.
That's who kills her, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that's a good fight scene again.
Yeah, definitely. And to be fair, like I say, I mean, I think the deaths don't shock me as much because obviously I've seen it many times now. But I just, and I know obviously it's not meant to be fun watching kids kill kids, but it is a fun movie.
You know what? I didn't expect the first time I watched Battle Royale. How gruesome, the throats exploding with the bombs, like nobody's death. You're like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
And perfect way of putting it. And the thing is, you got to think about is that sometimes, we're watching these films now in 2021. But if you go back to 2000 when the film came out, those death scenes were horrific.
Yeah,
they were bad to watch, and because obviously, people will laugh now at The Exorcist, but in 1974 they were not laughing. They were being sick in the foyer and they were passing out.
Priests had to throw holy water.
Exactly. So definitely, Battle Royale is a film of its time for its controversy. But the movie overall, I still think kicks in the right places.
Right, that leads us to our marking, Rob.
Markings.
So what we're going to do is we're going to rate it out of our friend Nanahara. His weapon of choice in the film was a pot lid.
Yes.
So how many cooking pot lids out of 10 are you giving the film?
I'm going to give it. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh.
And the reason why I give it an 8 is because the end scene bothered me.
When they get away?
No, that's fine. I like that.
Okay.
It was basically when, so again, sorry, spoiler, when Nanahara kills Kitano.
He shoots into bits, doesn't he, with the Uzi?
And that is the scene where he thinks back to his father's suicide note. It says, go for it. He knows basically, because he knows that he's not got long before he kills Noriko, because Kitano and Noriko have a very, very odd relationship, don't they?
Yes.
It's like a bit of she's like, Noriko's like this daughter that Kitano never had.
Because he's done that weird painting of her, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that painting is actually quite dark, isn't it?
Yes, because all the kids are dead around
and
her.
It shows her as the victor. Of Battle Royale, and but when that scene happens, so Nanahara shoots him down, and he does it quite well. He puts a lot of bullets in him, and but about 2 seconds later, his phone rings, and he gets up and he goes and sits on the couch and takes the call, and it's his daughter. He doesn't have a good relationship with his real daughter. And it just took me out of it a little bit.
I love that scene.
Really?
I think that scene's really funny. Just the way he gets back up and he goes over, and then that's the bit where he goes, I really enjoyed your cookies, and put the last one in his mouth.
Yeah, because he's eating those cookies from the movie, isn't he?
Because Noriko made them for Nanahara, didn't she?
That's right, yeah. I mean, it's like something in the movie that seems to stick with that character. And but yeah, for me, it took me out of it a little bit. Not a lot, but I just sat there and thought his death scene was perfect. So to have him go on the couch, and because the movie overall is quite serious, I don't like it when movies have a tone, like the tone stays, where it's dramatic. There's barely any comedy in Battle Royale, but that little comedy scene at the end, which, like you say, it was funny, but for me, it was a bit like, it took me by surprise.
But I think that shows because he's a bit of a hard guy, and that's his whole thing. He's a tough nut, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think that just goes to show because he didn't really want the kids to die, did he? I feel like that's how he was.
I mean, because I don't know whether do you think he had any part in them being chosen in the lottery?
Yes, only because I think that.
Because otherwise, why was he there?
Well, yeah. Well, it just so happened that the class that got chosen was the class that stabbed him.
Right.
I always thought that was a weird coincidence.
Yeah, but then again, I suppose, like, you know, I mean, he obviously was happy about it.
8 cooking pot lids out of 10. You're saying
8 cooking pot lids out of 10.
See, I've got a thing right now because I got a lot of flack on our last video on the Jaws review.
Right.
Because I gave Jaws an 8.5.
Right.
One guy called me a buffoon.
Not a buffoon.
I'm not a buffoon. I'm a lovely man. So lovely. I think I can't give it higher than Jaws.
No, you can. You can.
At 12 then.
12?
No, can't do 12. I'm going to give it an 8 as well. An 8 cooking pot out of 10. Mainly because it's a badass film, isn't it?
It has, like I say, every single scene with Kazoo, it definitely is. Like I say, there's certain characters that make the film better because of how they move.
Yeah.
I mean, the director, he did a great job in the first film, and I think he started filming the second film, but sadly he died of prostate cancer.
He died 3 years after the first film, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually filmed the first scene.
Yeah.
I believe he filmed one scene in the second film because it was his movie. He was the director, and then he died of prostate cancer. And his son, who wrote the movie and the sequel, the screenplays, he took over. He took over directing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
One.
That's cool.
So that could be why maybe the second one wasn't as well received, because obviously different direction, different different way of making the movie, perhaps. But I still think, if you watch the second one, I think you get a kick out of it.
We might review it. How about that? Let us know if you'd like that.
If Battle Royale, our review pops, it goes really well, we might do it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for watching, guys. Next week, we'll be reviewing... Do you want to tell them, Rob, what we'll be reviewing?
Toby Hooper's Life Force.